So welcome everyone to Talks on Tuesday. Uh, Obviously, they're every Tuesday, and we get together and talk about all sorts of things that are spiritual, metaphysical, and could be supernatural, unexplained things. And if you ever have a topic that you would like to share with us, for everyone else to share, just let us know. And remember to what do you call it, in the end of the to help me out, Barbara.
Like us on
Like
YouTube.
us on YouTube. Yeah, like us on
And
YouTube.
subscribe.
And subscribe. Yeah. So today, you might have noticed that the topic is who, or even what is that voice inside my head? And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm talking about a voice that sometimes we're not even aware of. And that's how deeply rooted it seems to be. And it can be really annoying. It doesn't stop. And it's like, okay, who is that voice? And how we can become the observer of that voice or step behind it. And I mean, like, for example, if I'm walking down the street and I'm talking, it's talking. Oh, look at that person. Why do they have that weird hat on? Or what, all these sort of things that you see them, that why do they have to be expressed in your head? It's, so I guess it's about trying to become aware of that voice. Because like I said, a lot of time we are not aware of the voice. And I think part of that, of how to, and believe me, it's hard. I mean, I can't say that I can do it, but part of it is just surrendering and allowing the voice to do what it's doing, but sit behind it. And who is that the observer is what I want to know. And that's what I'm going to open up to you. Who is a witness? Who is it that is witnessing this phenomena of our voice that continues endlessly, that garbles our mind, that sort of makes everything crowded? And I'm opening it up to you guys.
And should we believe it? Should we trust and believe everything that goes through our heads?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I just had a thought when I was listening to you, Julie, and you were saying, like, when you step behind and become the observer of the voice, and who is that? And I'm wondering if that is almost like the collective consciousness of, like, all that is. And I'm just putting this out there because it's just coming to me, but it just seems like maybe we're all somewhat observing all of us in this way, not necessarily by being the voice, but maybe, and then also by observing the voice, or stepping back and just kind of being aware of it.
Right.
So, I don't know.
Yeah. I think if you think about the before beyond that Jillian always talks about, when you say who is the observer, the I am, or the universe, or it's that you that wants to experience through us as physical beings. And to get that kind of
I think it can be several things. I think it could be the collective conscious. It could be our own just interior monologue, like in a Shakespearean play where they are often stepping aside and talking to themselves. It could be our guides, like especially when it says, "Don't go around that corner," or cross the street. Something like that. Could also be earthbound souls trying to get our attention. A lot of different things, but I think there may be some subtle differences among them. So if you pay enough attention, you can discriminate among them.
I think that a deeper sense of knowingness is rather than an actual thought is going to like warn you not to go around a corner where that's it's coming from your instinct. It's a knowingness. Whereas the voice inside your head, the one I'm talking about, is just always chatting and chatting about things that, like Chelsea said, are you going to believe it, or how important are they? When you think, wouldn't it be nice to have just a nice, clear mind where you're not constantly thinking and things that aren't, oh, look at that, or, oh, okay, that guy's got short legs, things that aren't really important. And that's, but you can't, you really can't stop it. That's why I say that you have to step back and let it go. It's kind of like a surrender. You're surrendering to it and allowing those thoughts to just go, and you're watching it. You're watching it, you're listening to it, but in a way that's not personal. You know what I mean?
I want to mention, Mary, when you were starting to list various things it could be a lot of different things. One other part is, scientifically proven, and that is just our brain neurons. And based on our experiences and how we frame them and how we keep repeating those neurons year after year after year, and how we have automatic responses to things, automatic judgments to things, and so many things. And of course, when I studied neurolinguistic programming, we would work with clients to, work on a particular issue, like one big, let's say, traumatic issue, and take them back in time, et cetera, reframe everything, which meant that, whenever that would come up again in the future, they would have some kind of tool to get through that. But that's just, another thing in that line of things that you're talking about, Mary. But that's huge. It's really a big thing.
Right. And they say that synapses that fire together wire together. So you will, unless you interrupt that connection, you'll always have that response too. I used to be afraid of birds for some reason. And, I would just like I would step into the traffic in order to avoid a pigeon.
Wow.
And, but then I did, reconnective healing helped me a lot with that. But, sometimes you don't know where it comes from. And sometimes you know whether to trust or not.
Past life, maybe.
Yeah.
I heard somebody once say, when they were asked the question, where do these thoughts come from? And this was a Louise Hay person. I'm not going to throw out any more names, but he goes, well, I guess it's the thought factory. And that stuck with me, and I don't know why. I'm like, there's something about this, the thought factory. And sometimes I can choose to build on what everyone else has already said. I'm just going to share my, the way I approach this question. First I become aware that, in essence, I'm just awareness, and indestructible and formless and thoughtless, and I don't have a name. So, and I love that place. It's my favorite, so I go there often. And then I'm aware of that. And then I go, well, okay, so I'm in the thought factory. What do I like? What don't I like? What feels true? What feels true? Like what Chelsea was talking about. So I like to play with the stuff that feels true. And the other stuff, it is interesting to contemplate who it is, what it is. Is it coming from the earth, from a person, from someone I know, someone I don't know? Is it an animal that I know or don't know? Is it a rock? um, I just like to keep it simple. And so from there, I'll just give an example. I'll take it to my experience. So let's just take COVID. So I got to Montana and I got COVID about 3 weeks into here, and I was like, oh, cool. I haven't had this yet. And I'm glad, because number one, I know how to receive it better. And number two, I believe this is a very mild version that's going around this summer. So I went into the thought factory with it, and I decided to just let COVID be a gift, let viruses be a gift, let it evolve me. And all of a sudden, this virus turned into like the greatest Christmas present ever. And it was like, well, who am I to have these great thoughts about a virus? And then I reminded myself, I'm in the thought factory. And I'm also formless and nothing, and I get to feel what's true. So if these this fun relationship with a virus feels true and real for me, then let's go. And I'm a weirdo.
Thank you for that. I like that.
Yeah. Doreen, I'm going to take that term thought factory. I think that's just brilliant. I love
Right.
that.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't have to go in, or you can just stand outside of it, smell the fumes or whatever. But yeah, I thought that kind of worked for me.
Yeah. I can just see inside the factory, an assembly line of thoughts, and they're packaging
Yep.
them and putting them out.
It's like Willy Wonka. It takes this whole Willy Wonka, fun as well. But yeah.
Well, you see the thoughts going by in your mind and you go, oh, I like that one, oh, I like that one. And because I don't know that we realize, at least I'll speak for myself, that so many of my thoughts are judgments, judgmental. And those really are the thoughts that I'd like to get rid of. And so I'll just, take a trip to the thought factory and
Return them, drop them off.
yeah, wash them, get them washed, clean.
I find just being aware that they are judgmental, it
Well,
helps,
see,
because then it's like,
awareness.
I can just drop that.
Right, exactly. And that's it, becoming aware of the voice and of, what the voice is saying, and that I mean, not easy to say, okay, I'm not going to think these things anymore, but, but just coming into awareness about it is a step forward,
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I try to see like what feels right, what feels good.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah, I like what somebody said about like the thought factory being a place where you can do anything with the thoughts. You can get them dry cleaned. You can get them altered. You can find new ones. You can make up ones that you've never seen. Oh, I see a deer. Cool.
Ooh.
I think that was the deer that was here eating my hay when I drove up. That's okay. Anyway, I digress. So yeah, talk about the thought factory. Yeah. The wilderness I like as a thought factory. It's my thought factory, but it exists everywhere.
Yeah. Anybody else have anything to share, or comments or questions? Oh, Louis Therese. Hi, welcome. You're muted.
Okay, now?
Yes, you're good. We hear you.
First of all, I think if that thoughts are not so nice to handle, or that you're not so happy with it, is that you can do the same self-discipline as what you normally do when you meditate. And when you look at the thought and say, now, where is this coming from? Why do you come up? Look at it and then disregard it. But one thing that I wanted to share is when I was doing one of the seminars with Drangalo Melchizedek, we were teach how to release earthbound spirits. And a chat with the people afterwards that we have do the treatment with. And one of the things is that they say they had constantly, but then also we ask them, did you ever try to do self-discipline or look at the thoughts or anything? And they said no, but it was a constant conversation in their head, and it was sometimes taking their minds over. So that is also a very, very valid point what Mary had to bring up is earthbound spirits, because they really wanted to do their thing and you are going the opposite way. And yeah, that is about all that I would like to share. And as I say, to look at your thoughts, look at it, examine it. Sometimes it is stimulating and new ideas that is dropping by, because you are supposed to be very creative. And one of the things to be creative is new thoughts that is constantly flowing through. But it mustn't be allowed to be destructive, or if it is, then look at it and see why. So that is my one thing I would like to share tonight.
Thank you, Louis Trees. I think what I thought just now when you were talking about things that come your way that are new and creative are also not, maybe not thoughts, but life happening to you and opportunities to not resist and to allow yourself to investigate new opportunities or creative things that happen like spontaneously or are coming your way. And so I just was kind of paralleling that with the thought itself. I don't know if that made sense, but it's the surrendering to your opportunities and your creativeness.
Yeah.
Call it.
One component of thoughts that I've been getting familiarized with or aware of, just working with somebody with Alzheimer's dementia, is the stickiness. And it's just something I heard that term somewhere, probably a Hay House person again. But just he was the invitation was to ask yourself, do I have like a sticky mind where the thoughts are able to just stick? So do I need to then go to the thought factory and get some dry cleaning for those thoughts? Yeah, because you can, it's just it's very interesting when you see what stickiness really looks like in a environment where there's not so much control anymore over the thoughts. And I'm not in any way trying to become some sort of expert about what dementia Alzheimer's is, but it's we're all in that space all the time, I guess, is what I'm realizing.
Do you mean now what just comes what comes to me when you say stickiness of the mind? I think that I think about thoughts being stuck together and not being able to move. Is that what you're talking about? And it kind of messes everything up. I mean, because there's no movement, there's no flow.
I wouldn't say no, but I would say there's I don't know if I'm sure probably everybody here has experienced somebody with some form of dementia or Alzheimer's. I feel like every time I mention it, somebody goes, oh yeah, my mom or dad or somebody had it. But anyway, it's a very interesting thing to observe, and I guess to address what you were bringing up about the stickiness. I wouldn't say it doesn't move at all, but you can I think for me, I want to be careful about my habits of negative stickiness and things that I don't want to develop a habit of always bringing up something that I don't like, because those seem to be super stickier, at least with this person. I don't know. It's hard to articulate.
Well, I definitely don't, I think it's a good idea not to bring up things you don't like, because that's that law of attraction kind of thing, you know?
Mhm.
And you know, what you focus on comes to you. So, but I'm not sure that's what you were talking about.
I don't know. Sometimes I'm not sure what I'm talking about, but it's just it's interesting to watch somebody who's healthy. Like, this is someone who's biologically healthy. And there's just some stickiness in the mind. However, biology interfaces with source energy and continues on.
Mm.
And so you're just, I guess, watching really just maybe some missed opportunities to develop the skills to manage emotion that were missed. And maybe now it's a little too late.
Mm.
I'm not going to say totally too late, because I've been working with this person and it's really incredible to watch this. But anyway, it's just
Well, that must be really interesting though, Durian. I mean, to
yeah,
work.
it's a whole nother discussion. The only reason I brought it up is because we were talking about thoughts. And when you're with somebody who can't really control their thoughts or their memory very well anymore, it's super interesting,
Yeah, no, I agree.
educational. And I can see it in all of us, I guess is what I'm saying. So I'm really grateful for the experience to be able to reflect and observe it in myself and make other choices when I go into the thought factory.
You know, Darren, I think that's the key, is being able to reflect and observe, because I think when people have dementia, they're so focused in the now, what's happening this second, they don't
Yes.
have that opportunity to step back and reflect and observe. And
Yes.
in some ways, you know, we all want to live in the now. You know, there's a
Mhm.
certain freedom in that.
Yeah.
And yet, to function in society, you know, having that somewhat filter, so you don't like
Yeah.
shout out something at somebody, or, you know, you act more appropriately.
Yeah.
You know, there's that kind of balance, I guess, of being totally like, this is what I'm feeling right now. You know, it doesn't matter who doesn't like it, because this is what I'm feeling, and so I'm going to express that. Versus, oh, how can I behave that's acceptable to, you know, without making
Mhm.
other people feel uncomfortable or whatever.
Yeah. And both of those things still exist, at least for, you know, a lot of individuals. But Barbara, that you bring up a really good point. And I think we're going to look back or whatever, even though there's no such thing as time, on Alzheimer's and dementia, and look at it as such a gift, because you're just present all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the even if the past comes up, you're still present with it. Like, it's like time traveling too. Only it's a little bit too out of control to be able to live life on your own. But I think we're witnessing so many components of our minds that we haven't really understood until this epidemic.
That's probably because people are living longer now, you know, getting older with
Yeah.
more chronic diseases. And so
Yeah.
there's an opportunity to examine some of that stuff.
Yeah.
But
Anyway.
The people that have dementia or some form of Alzheimer's, they're in the present, but they don't know they're in the present. And they can't, you know, analyze it to say, oh, well, which makes it different than if you're thinking about it, you know, just there, and they're just being, basically, you know. So you could say, well, they're in another state or another dimension almost, you know? So.
Well, yeah, compared to us, they definitely are.
Yeah.
But that's just compared to us,
Right.
just being relative to our ability to reflect.
Right. Mayor, did you want to say something?
I think too that each of us has a worldview, and some of us see life as a struggle, and that causes us to identify certain thoughts in certain ways, like, oh, here's a challenge, here's a burden, here's this. I taught English literature for a long time, so I tend to see life as a story with themes and motifs and characters and sub-characters and, foreshadowing and all of those literary terms. So I think each of us not only has all these thoughts that wander through, but our means of categorization either serves or doesn't serve in terms of how we process it.
Interesting.
Yeah, I love how you brought that up, Mary, because as you were talking, I was thinking, I kind of see life as an adventure. And I think about, when I was 19 years old and hitchhiked cross country, and that's exactly what I felt like I was doing. And that I think is kind of my general worldview. And when people talk about like all the weird political stuff that's going on right now, and that could be a real downer, but I just like, oh, these are such exciting times. These are such exciting times. Look at the potential to turn things upside down right now that we have. So yeah, I like that. I like.
I identify with you, Barbara. I
story.
like that also.
I'm sorry, what was that, Julie?
I identify with what you said. I'm also more of an adventurous, and yeah, definitely. We have 1 minute. So if anyone wants to pop in with something, short and sweet.
Yeah, I have something.
Short and
This just to end on some levity. In the past years ago, especially, you would have a very successful situation comedy, and the characters were all beloved by everyone. And then after a while, they would take maybe 2 of those characters and then start another situation comedy. They're still the same people, but it's a whole different script, right? And this goes on. You might have 3 or 4 different comedies, and they're all successful. And so what I thought we could do is we'll start another group as an offshoot of Talk on Tuesdays and call it the Thought Factory. Yeah. Yeah. And Daring, you can be the lead character. There we go.
That's
Sounds good. I like that.
Great way to end the half hour today, Gino. That was great.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'm gonna turn it over to you, Barbara, to do whatever you do. And thank you all for coming. And if you have any other comments that you didn't get to express, go ahead and put, on the website, on the YouTube channel. All right.
Thanks. Bye-bye, everybody. We'll see you next
Yeah.
week.
Bye.
Bye.